Okay, great. Like I say, if people are 100% occupied, then you're too cheap. So we do find the sweet spot to be between 70 and 80% occupancy. Obviously, if you get a really long booking, 3, 4, 5 months, then clearly you're going to be 100% occupied during that period, and so that's not a problem. But on the short stays, you shouldn't be going above 80% occupancy because you're too cheap. If that's the case, you're going to be paying out far too much on cleaning and laundry.
70,000 is...
Well, 70,000. If you're over 70,000, then you are absolutely fine in terms of having quite a few units, at least 10 in that region. Okay. If you're less than 70,000, then it's just a case of highlighting or analysing or looking into how many things there are in that town or that city that are creating demand for service accommodation. And if you're, clearly it's going to have a decent sized town centre, then you're looking at industry. You can Google largest employers in your town, city, how many hospitals, how many universities, what big business is there. 70,000 plus normally ticks all the boxes. If it's less than that, then you just need to see whether or not it's got enough things ticking those boxes.
Is 4 properties enough to start looking at a channel manager, or should I hold fire with that also?
No, I would suggest you definitely get on with a channel manager as soon as possible. Okay, because if you've got a channel manager, then you can list on lots of different platforms. Okay, and then you're not going to get a double booking. So Guesty, again, you need to speak to them. Sometimes they will only let you on with a certain amount of units, but you can. There's other ones. Some people use Tokeet, some people will use Kigo. We use Kigo. And you can speak to the different channel managers and just get a quote from them, and they can give you a demo and tell you what they offer, and you can compare, like for like in terms of price, etc. But I think that if someone has more than one unit, then they should have a channel manager. Okay. You can list on all the other OTAs, so you're going to get more bookings, therefore you can raise your nightly rate, and you're not going to get a double booking, which is a nightmare, frankly.
With Airbnb, so I've mainly used that so far. I'm kind of on the cusp of being a superhost, so I was curious if you had any experience with what difference does that make? Is it really worth getting to that status?
Doesn't make a huge difference, to be honest, whether you're a superhost or not. I mean, it's rare that people won't book unless you're a superhost. There's responsiveness has to be really high with superhost. Your reviews need to be really high with superhost, etc. So as you scale, it's difficult to maintain that and to keep ticking those boxes. But it's not something that I would worry too much about if you weren't a superhost.
Any recommendations for if the area I'm in at the moment is not sort of the ideal area to the scale? Is there any way you'd recommend a setting, like an area around me that would be great for, other than population size? Is there any kind of key points I should be looking for in targeting that area to start SA there?
It's literally, Sam, where is the nearest place to you that ticks the most boxes?
I think probably Loughborough, or that has a lot of university, or Leicester City, the city centre.
I mean, Leicester works all day long, and so the only issue is clearly how long does it take you to get there? We've got SAs all over the country now. What we have to do is have the teams in place in order to manage them, because clearly we don't want to be travelling to do a meet and greet or to deal with any issues at each property. So you've just got to have the team in place there. So you're going to need cleaning, you're going to need laundry. If you're doing meet and greet, you need to have somebody doing that for you. You're going to have some trades on hand, electrician, plumber, general handyman, people like that in the team in order to be able to manage remotely. Okay, so you're talking about whether to do rent to SA or SA management, is that right? So SA management where you are charging a percentage of turnover.
Yeah, that's essentially what I mean.
Yeah, okay. So for service accommodation management, there's a lot more responsibility. Well, I think there's a lot more responsibility involved in taking somebody's property and you managing that as service accommodation. So the other way of doing it that you're already doing it is using your own properties as service accommodation, and you've also got a rent to SA as service accommodation. Am I right?
Yeah.
So the rent to SA as service accommodation, you're fulfilling your part of the bargain in that you are giving the owner a set rent, and ultimately then you're taking care of the bills, etc. You're paying the council tax, and so it's pretty hands-free for the owner on that side. They're just getting fixed rent and they are happy, and then you're taking care of the property. Is that accurate for how you're doing it?
Yeah, that's exactly how it's happening at the moment.
So for SA management, a lot of people think, well, SA management, that's something I'd like to get involved in, because the good part of that is an owner can just bring you their property furnished, good to go for serviced accommodation. If it isn't ready, it isn't like that, then you can just say to the owner, we can get it to that state for you, but you've got to pay, or go away and do X, Y, and Z, and then once it's ready, then we'll manage it as serviced accommodation. So that's pretty much the model. You list it on your platform, so you can list it with Silverdoor, Situ, Booking.com, Airbnb. You can have your own website. You can have your own contacts with local companies and businesses. So you fill it with guests. And so let's say the turnover in a calendar month was 2,500, and you are charging 20% management fee. Then you're going to get £500 in for that property. The owner still pays the bills. So there's less admin in terms of the bills being paid. So they're still paying their own gas and electric, etc., etc. What you do is from that turnover, you take your management fee away, and you also pay the other bills. So you're paying the cleaning, the laundry, the commissions to Booking.com, Airbnb, and things like that. And then what's left after those deductions, you then pay to the owner. Are you with me so far, Sam?
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay, again, I cover this more specifically in another episode of the podcast. And the reason why I think there's more responsibility involved with this is that if there is not enough demand for serviced accommodation in that area, and therefore the occupancy is going to suffer and the nightly rates are not going to be high enough, you're not going to be able to give the owner enough money for that owner to pay his or her bills. You're fine, because even if you only get £500 worth of bookings in a month, 500 turnover, you're going to take your fee, but then once you've paid everything out, you're not going to be paying the landlord anything, and so therefore it's not going to work. So what I always say to people is, before going into service accommodation management, you should definitely know that there is enough demand, and you should definitely know that service accommodation works in that area before taking a landlord's property on. And I don't think you're there yet, Sam, in your current town, because you've not done the winter.